Hi, Minesh Baxi here, and today you will get information about a group which is a CEO-based group, and we have local branches right here, and we'll have a representative here for you to learn from. Because what I think is a lot of people who need guidance at a level where they need to be around comfortably, confidentiality-wise, and good information. So we have Tim Hartford, and he's the chair of the Vistage here locally. And I don't know if I'm butchering the name as well, so you can correct me on that. So Tim Hartford, welcome.
Thanks, Minesh. You're doing fine.
So how do you pronounce Vistage?
It's Vistage.
Vistage.
Yep, Vistage,
Okay.
Michigan. And as you know, I'm a chair or executive coach with Vistage, Michigan. So thanks for having me. Really
You're
appreciate
absolutely
it.
welcome. I know we met a couple of different times before, and I've had a
Right.
great conversation with you. You've had a great background in the past as well. Okay, so most people may have no idea. What is Vistage anyway?
Sure. Well, to give you some history, so the net of it is Vistage is probably one of the best well-kept secrets, and yet we've been around for 60 plus years. And so we're all about CEOs stepping back from their day-to-day businesses and really connecting with other leaders to get a different and outside perspective. And so as a result, they become better leaders, they make better decisions, and they deliver better results. And what's so amazing about this process is we found that our leader companies grow on average 2.2 times faster than non-member companies.
That's pretty fast, 2.2.
Yeah, 2.2.
Wow. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's kind of a simple formula in our mind, but what we've been able to do is survey other members to really kind of glean some of the rationale behind the growth and some of the areas where they received the most value. And we've kind of broken it down into 5 specific areas. And so one, they're better equipped to make better decisions, okay? So they're gaining perspectives and they spend time working on their business rather than inside their business, okay? So making better decisions. Second, accountability. So if you think about having that accountability partner, if you will, where we hold others to account. So accountability. Thirdly, they're able to grow personally and professionally, okay? There's another area that we call isolation relief, or sometimes known as imposter syndrome. And frankly, it's very lonely for our senior leaders at the top, It's like, how did I get here, right? Am I really, should I really be in this role? So,
Sure.
yeah, isolation relief. And then lastly, the whole idea of change management. So how do I internally and then externally to the business, what are the changes that I need to make? So those 5 key areas.
Very interesting. And you are what you would call a chair.
A chair.
So tell me, what does that look like? What is the role of a chair?
Well, the role of a chair in its simplest sense is we work with our members to really help them identify areas that they want to improve or grow or change. So we create those plans with them. And so as an executive coach, it's all about holding them accountable, okay? And we really look at the actions that they want to take, and we really are constantly there to ensure they take those actions. And we facilitate off-site meetings, and we do peer-to-peer leader-member coaching as well. So those are some of the key things that I do.
And you were with the previous experience, so I'm sure that experience of being an executive in another company before, having done well with those companies, trained and team leadership roles, etc., has helped you basically be prepared for a role like this. Would that be true?
That's a really good question, Minesh. I mean, basically, I was trained in David Rock's coaching methodology, which is very much a results-driven methodology. And, I had the privilege of spending time between Accenture and EDS and then HP in leadership, global leadership roles. So what I found is that some of the issues that our members are dealing with, it's a consistent area of need.
Yeah, and you have seen that at different levels with different companies from your past experience. Because somebody might say, okay, what qualifies you to be a Vistage chair? And I think what you're talking about is the different coaching methodologies, etc., that you have learned. You put in practice in different companies from your own experience, that you are somebody who is aware of how to do this.
Exactly.
Very good.
Been there, as an old saying, kind of been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
So what does obviously there are other organizations like Vistage, I'm sure.
Hmm.
What makes Vistage unique? Tell me more about that.
Yeah. Well, when I think about what's unique about our services, so it's a very powerful model that has four primary components. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we do is meet 9 times a year, and we kind of roll up our sleeves, if you will, and work through the members' most significant issues and opportunities at the time. So we meet 9 times a year, and then during those meetings, we bring in various subject matter experts on just about every topic imaginable. We have well over 1,500 speakers
Hmm.
globally that are highly trained in many different topics that our senior leaders learn and grow from. The next area is the leaders experience 9 one-to-one coaching sessions that can last up to an hour and a half. And then since Vistage is a global organization, a global community, with a very, very powerful online portal where we've got a significant collection of best practices and articles that serve our 23,000 plus members globally
Wow.
and our over 300 members here locally in the Detroit area.
Very interesting. And so obviously people who are coming here, they are busy people.
Right,
They are definitely keen to make sure that they're not joining another social club,
right.
right?
Right.
So how do you add value to your members?
Well, when you think about value, value can be defined a lot of different ways, but I think one of the key things, the way Vistage defines value, is it begins with creating this safe, sacred space with our members, and where we really look at how we can build community inside of that membership. And since they're lonely and they're dealing with so many things by themselves, it's all about becoming that trusted advisor. Okay. And so often they don't have people that's questioning what they're doing, right? Or asking them, so why are you making that decision?
Yes.
And so it's all about building really that trust. And so we work very closely with them then to develop those action plans. If you think of any of our sports figures today, they all have a coach. Right?
Yes.
I mean, Tiger Woods, probably
Yeah.
one of the most infamous golfers. I mean, he has a
Yeah.
golf coach, right, to help him sharpen his game, to help him be a better golfer. So the same thing applies here with our members, because it's solely focused on how do we look at creating a whole life for them so they can produce results in their whole life, personally and professionally.
Interesting enough.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, everybody's not qualified or everybody's not the right member for your
Yeah.
Vistage group.
Yeah.
Tell me, who do you feel would be a good fit?
Well, that's a really good question. So what makes that kind of ideal member, if you will? Well, Vistage, when you really think about it, is a learning organization.
True.
Okay? And so we look for members that are up to something with a desire to take on their whole life and improve. And so we work with them then. How can they be a better leader? And what can they do to improve things inside of their business? We ensure a blend of cross industries.
Okay.
There's no competition. And so the other key thing is we look for members that are really willing to take on their life, if you will. And that's a key thing. Are they really going to be coachable? A lot of times people
Yes.
want to do it, but they don't want to take the actions to really do it, if you will.
Well, in my opinion, what I found is that, and I know from my own experience, and I was telling somebody today, is that if I look back 10 years before, we
Right.
are entering into a new decade.
Right.
10 years ago was 2010. We are approaching 2020 now. Is like, am I where I want to be or thought I would be compared to, obviously, we know the possibilities here. And I look back as there are people who have been much more successful than I have been. And the only reason is they were better students than I was.
Yeah.
So if nothing else I can change in the next 10 years would be if I focus on being a better student,
Right.
then
Right.
I know
Right.
that I could have even more success than before. And again, I'm not defining success just as money or any of that stuff. It's just a great way to measure it,
Right.
but not the only way to measure it. And I think, like in your case, it's a learning organization.
Right.
So if people are
Right.
not coming there to learn, And you don't learn by listening. You
Right.
don't learn by watching.
Right.
You learn
Right.
by doing.
Exactly.
You don't learn by anything else. Everything else is a preparation.
Yeah.
Because when people talk about self-improvement, I think they forget that self-improvement comes from action.
No, you're spot
There is
on.
there is
Minesh.
no other way to do that. So if somebody is interested,
Yeah.
how does somebody become a member of Vistage?
Well, we really put that potential member through a process,
Okay.
if you will. Okay. And so it really kind of begins with, here in southeastern Michigan where we have a presence, and then we also have a presence up in northern Michigan or Petoskey. The first thing we do is we look, is this organization 3 million and up?
Okay.
So that's the first thing that we do. And so then we'd engage with that senior leader, that CEO, that president, that small business owner. And it really kind of begins with several meetings where we begin and have a dialogue, okay? And it's around a dialogue to explore, why they would be interested,
Sure.
what are some of the things they want to do and create, and then really look to see if it's a fit for them and a fit for our groups. And then we'd set up a one-on-one coaching meeting, and then by the end of that meeting, we'd really have enough information so that we could reach a mutual decision, whether or not it's right for that leader and right for us. What a lot of times people think is that it's this process where I just want to do it. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way, because what's paramount is that we get a member that really is going to do the work.
Yes.
And then is going to really fit in with the mechanics of our group. And then again, a key thing is that there's no competition. I don't have two CEOs that run a large insurance company, for
Sure.
example. So it's a cross-industry selection.
And I think one of the things which is important is to have a good fit. Is this person really willing to be a giver, willing
Right.
to be facilitating, helping experience other people, share their experience, learn from other people's experience? Because I think that's where the big benefit comes in as well.
Yeah.
So how can people get hold of you, get more information about Vistage?
Well, if people are interested in learning more, the best thing to do is to reach out to me at Hartford at VistageMichigan.com. Of course, I am out on LinkedIn, but probably the best point of entry again would be Hartford at VistageMichigan.com.
Very, very fantastic. What one thing that you would like to share as a story or something else from your experience that would make people think, yeah, Vistage is, or Tim Hartford is a group that I should belong to?
Well, I appreciate that final question, and I would tell the story in the sense that two things. We had what we call chair training today, and so one of the exercises we did was focus on what we call deep work. Okay, and so we watched this TEDx video. The Olympic jumper, his last name is Gillette. He's blind, and he tells his story of how he chose to see, chose and envisioned being able to see and do his jumps.
Wow.
So he's won Olympic medals. His last name is Gillette. He's out there on YouTube at TED Talks. But the thing is, we're constantly learning and growing,
Yeah.
so we can take those tools back to our members. And
So you're working on yourself
yeah,
to be able to provide more value to your members.
right. And, we have so many unique stories about member successes, in the sense, probably the one that I'm most fond of here recently, where one of our members, basically started out the year, losing money last year, having significant loss. And now this year he's making money and doubling the size of his firm.
Wow.
And,
That's a good
and we
success
have
story.
many success stories like that.
Yeah, well, Vistage is well known, as you said, 60 years. One of the secrets
Yeah.
that you are now divulging to our listeners and
Yeah.
people who are watching. So thanks, Tim, for coming. And I hope you got some insight into the C organization, which can help people who are looking to grow to the next level by being part of a very prestigious group as well. So thanks again for watching. Thanks, Tim, for coming
Thanks,
here today.
Minesh.